We have Carleton Stone here with us today.
Hello, Internet.
So, Carleton, I just caught your little 5-minute pitch session there, part of the kickoff for our weekend. Are you showcasing tonight?
No, not till Saturday.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
All right. So, any of our attendees around this weekend that are following us live now have plenty of time to get out there and see you.
Hell yeah.
So now myself, I was familiar with you originally when you were with Port Cities. Actually, you guys played in Glasgow, where I'm from, at the Riverfront Jubilee.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually, looking back, that was a phenomenal night. It was you guys and Hillsburn were both like early night.
Yeah.
And I had my whole family with me at the time because it was, at the time, it was all ages as well. So
Okay.
we had a lot of opportunities to get down there. But yeah, I remember you guys from back then, and I remember Port Cities being interesting to me because it was 3 solo artists basically that came together. So I like little East Coast super groups.
Yeah, for sure.
Your solo stuff that you had at one point there, you got away from it when you did the Port Cities?
Yeah, we had, I put out 3 solo records up until that point, and then met Dylan and Bria at the Gordie Sampson Song Camp.
Okay.
And then, yeah, the 3 of us just kind of organically, slowly over the years started to like collaborate more together. And then we'd start playing in each other's bands, and we're all doing the solo singer-songwriter thing. And then I think after about 4 or 5 years of that, we're like, why don't we just start a band with the 3 of us and write specifically for the 3 of us? And yeah, that's how Port Cities kind of came about. So,
and as a fan of Port Cities, I was familiar with your name when I see you out there anyway, but with my own involvement with Music Nova Scotia through podcasting the last couple of years too, I realized that you do a lot of work with Music Nova Scotia. You do a lot of the basic training sessions and some of the more advanced stuff.
yeah.
So was that something that you had already been doing, or it's just as your career advanced, you kind of, people know who you are and you have the networking, and so people ask you?
Yeah, I guess a little of both. I had, when I went to university, I got my BED. So now I was kind of making my second solo record. I was like substituting and kind of doing that stuff. So, you know, I come from an education background, and then they were looking for someone to kind of help deliver these basic training sessions and some of the mentorship stuff. And yeah, they basically asked me and wanted someone who had been in the music business for kind of, 10 plus years. So yeah, then they asked me, and, a lot of it, especially during COVID, any little thing to put some money in my pocket, basically.
For sure.
So yeah, but I've loved it because it's kind of keeps your pulse on the up and coming artists, and you get to meet and have relationships with people before you necessarily know their music. So it's kind of had a lot of blessings outside of just kind of delivering the whatever knowledge I have.
Sure.
So
yeah, and I mean, it's probably not a big secret to anyone that's been following it. Like me doing a podcast is kind of for the same reasons, to keep up with what's going on and to get to know some of the artists and know some of the music before it comes out. And so you're a Cape Breton boy, born and raised.
Yeah.
You're back in Cape Breton now. We have Music Nova Scotia here in Cape Breton, so you must be pretty pumped for the whole weekend.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always nice. I grew up just outside of Sydney, so this is like, my stomping grounds here. So, and I don't get to spend as much time here, so it's kind of nice to come home. And
for sure,
especially having all the international delegates come in. There's like delegates I've known over the years, like from the UK or from different folk festivals in Europe, and they're in Cape Breton for the first time. And they're like, oh, this is where you're from. And, so it's just kind of fun to show people around and see what the island has to offer, kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, I still need to get over to the fiddle. I've been in the hotel since I landed.
Oh, so my God. You can open the window behind you and see it right there.
I'll have to take some pictures of just the view of this room for our people on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause they can't see it from the video angle, but it is a beautiful view here. You being from here and having the solo albums, but then when you were in Port Cities, I assume that's when you would have transitioned to living in the city for a little while, or did you always stay in Cape Breton?
Yeah, I was always kind of back and forth a little bit, We spent for like 3 or 4 years there, we were on the road like almost 200 days a year.
Yeah.
You know, so there wasn't a lot of time to kind of put your roots down anywhere. We were just like living out of a van and touring everywhere. So yeah, I've just been kind of like vagabond styles the last few years. And then, yeah, COVID, when that hit and everything was canceled, and my parents have a cottage outside of St. Peter. So I was just like, went there and didn't really have a plan of what was going to happen. And then just kind of my stuff's still there. So,
And so with Brielle, even Port Cities,
yeah.
You have worked with someone else since she left.
Yeah, we've put out a couple songs, I guess, and with like kind of guest female vocalists that we had worked with and collaborated with over the years. And you know, we've done a handful of shows, and we, you know, we'll get like Renee Smith will come play with us, or Mo Kenny, and we've had a kind of revolving door of female guests. And yeah, but now Dylan moved to Nashville, so we the shows are a little fewer and far between now.
That was my question, if there was anything still on the go, or if the solo album that you're promoting now kind of took you away, or it's kind of a both thing, like you're both doing your own thing for a little while.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're still all like best buds, and
Awesome.
you know, me and Dylan talk all the time. And yeah, you know, I think during COVID, everyone in the creative industries has kind of had to take stock of what they were doing and where they were and what their next little plan was. So mine was like, I think I'm ready to do another solo record. And Dylan kind of started writing in that country world, which, you know, wasn't necessarily my bag all the time. So yeah, I've just been, you know, kind of back on the singer-songwriter thing. I've been touring around the last few months all over the continent, and that's going good again. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that for a while.
And the out of this solo album, you've had like Monte Carlo is probably the one I would know of the most from airplay.
Yeah.
Was there another single before that one?
We put out a couple kind of pre-album release tracks. I think Ice Age, the one I played at the pitch, that was the first one we put out kind of in the dead of winter last year. And then, Monte Carlo, and then the title track, Paper Cut.
Paper Cut's probably my favorite of those.
Thanks.
It's funny because I listen to a lot of the charts and the radio play just to keep up with things. And that's not the one of those three that got the most play. But
yeah, no, for sure.
It's probably my most favorite of the three. That one's in my car.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Monte Carlo I can hear on the radio.
Yeah.
Paper Cut's on a USB drive in my car. So. That's even better. So you've done well with the solo. Like from the outsides, I don't know your numbers if you're the same as Port Cities, but I mean, I'm seeing your name everywhere and seeing it get radio play. Yeah,
for sure. It's, you know, it's almost like starting over a little bit. The whole world. It's been 8 years since I put out a solo record, so you know, have a fan base of people that were kind of solo fans before that, and then obviously Port Cities fans, and then, but yeah, kind of out here in the new, you know, the TikTok world and the way how fast everything works in like in the internet and everything now. So you're just kind of, you know, slugging it out and trying to get your music out there. And
absolutely, everybody's out hustling nowadays.
Exactly,
it's all the indie part is kind of faded away because everyone's a little bit of do-it-yourself.
And I feel like everyone's so in their own like silo of, you know, the content they see from their friends and their fans, or the music they already like, and really there's no kind of quick fix to building a fan base these days. You just kind of got to get out there and play in front of people and almost win them over one by one every night and get them to follow you on social media, and then they're kind of part of the club. And so yeah, I've just been doing that, you know, the last few months, and it's been, you know, people have been reacting good, which is great. So,
and do you have any shows coming up then? That's one question I asked. There's been a whole smattering of interviews lately leading up to this.
Yeah.
And where I was asking, pretty much that's a common question for me, is like, what's after Music Week?
Yeah.
A lot of people are winding down from the winter and concentrating on projects to release in the spring.
Yes.
So is it the same case for you where you had an album you've been doing a little promo?
I have a handful of East Coast shows in December, kind of album release shows because I haven't played here, basically. Yep. So, yeah, playing in Halifax, that one's sold out. Playing Charlottetown, Truro is just about to be announced. And then going back on the road in, I think, the beginning of February again.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it won't be too long here. Just catch my breath for a minute and then head back out. So
yeah, I think everybody needs gift cards for Christmas because I think there's a lot of new material coming out in the new year.
Absolutely.
Ready for next summer.
Yeah, for sure. So
did you find this year, and I mean, once again, maybe during COVID you were more focused on what's next and trying to figure that out. But do you find that in 2022... Myself, I went to way more live shows this year than I have historically, period.
Yeah, okay.
But did you find a difference in the crowds and stuff now? Like, you've been playing for quite a while. And as you mentioned with solo stuff, you have some fans that are fans from pre-Port Cities that when you did solo. And then I imagine Port Cities fans know who you are.
Of course,
they're following you over. But did you notice any difference in the shows when you were performing and the way the crowd's interacting? Or?
Most of the shows I've done haven't been here. So I did 7 weeks opening for the Crash Test Dummies, all kind of over North America. So like every one of those shows, I'd be walking out on stage every night and no one has a clue who I am, you know?
Yeah, okay.
So, it's just a kind of matter of like, getting up there, me and my guitar, and trying to win over this audience of strangers every night, and then convert them into fans. But so yeah, it's like I was definitely surprised how many tickets they sell. Yeah, because you go into these cities and some nights they're playing for like 350, 450, and then some places you go and there's 2,000 people there.
Sure.
But yeah, I think in general, and this is like kind of anecdotally from, again, because I haven't played any East Coast shows in a bit, but there's a lot of competition right now. Obviously, there's been a lot of backlog of canceled and postponed shows at the venues. So the venues are trying to, every night is full, and it's definitely more competitive right now, I think. And then obviously with the state of the economy and inflation and everything, there's a lot of places that audience members can put their money or not. So, I think it's a lot of people are kind of trying to navigate this post-pandemic world. Like knock on wood that it's doing okay for me so far, but I know it's hard out there for sure. So,
well, in that competition thing, it's going to happen again. It's almost like we've entered a new system, like where you see repeats, and then COVID happened and everything kind of died.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to see the pattern. Like everyone rushed out to perform shows because everything was finally open and everyone was competing with each other for time.
Exactly.
And now everyone's like, all right, now it's the fall. I'm going to make new stuff, put it out in the spring, and then I'm going to really hit the ground next year. But everyone's going to do the same thing. So.
Yeah, it's funny because, historically or pre-COVID, everyone, the general or the traditional kind of cycle, it's like, okay, you go make an album and that takes you however long, and then you go tour that album as long as you can, it could be 6 months, 18 months, 20, however long, and then you kind of go back in your own little hole again, make a new project. So like everyone's cycles are kind of overlapping, but now it's like everyone made music during COVID because there was nothing else to do. And then as soon as lockdown's over, everyone's like, let's go play shows again. So it's like 100% of the creative people are all trying to go at the same time because we're finally all on the same schedule. Yeah. So I'm hoping that, in the next 6 to 18 months, that kind of balances out. It balances out like it was, for the last 50, 60, 100 years or whatever.
Absolutely. So. And now a curiosity question, since I have you here, and I know that you're connected to just about everybody outside of this room.
Yeah. Okay.
So where it's day one.
Yeah.
And where we're live streaming the video right now, hopefully there's a few people that have the same question.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think that people just definitely have to not miss this weekend? Like, I'm sure you have a lot of friends and stuff, so you could cherry pick. But is there any really big events that like are do not miss?
Well, I'll give my biased answer based on people that I'm a big fan of or work with or whatever. But Willie Stratton, obviously, is one of my best buddies now, and produced his record, and we're still just keeping working on stuff for him. He plays tonight. So, and if anyone hasn't seen Willie and his full band, it's an experience. So I'm definitely going to be there tonight. And then another artist that I'm a big fan of, Blue in Tokyo. I'm playing with her on Saturday night. She's just kind of young, up and coming artist, just has great potential and great connections, good management team out of the U.S., and just about to make a record right now. So as far as someone that might not be on someone's radar to go check out, I would suggest her. And yeah, just there's so much good music this weekend. I have too many things to see in my schedule. I'm going to try. And Loviet,
yes,
who Natalie Lynn came to song camp with us like long ago, and I've always been a friend and fan of hers. And then she moved off to Toronto and started a band, and she's kicking ass now. So I'm really excited to see her. I haven't seen this new band, so that's tomorrow night at 8:30. I'm definitely going to check that out. So
yeah, I'll have to. I'll try to stop both of those last couple there. Actually,
yeah, you should. Yeah.
And anyone listening to, when I was packing and getting ready and scheduling interviews this week, I had the official playlist for Nova Scotia Music Week 22.
Yeah, we were rocking that on the drive down yesterday too.
Yeah, so everyone's on that list. So,
yeah,
I mean, stay tuned to our Instagram. There'll be more live streams, and we have I think 1 million interviews with Nova Scotia musicians up on our YouTube page and our podcast platform now. So it's pretty insane.
Awesome.
And you brought along a guitar in the background there.
Yeah.
Did you want to try to play a little tune for some of our people?
So you could just play the recorded version,
Yeah, oh yeah. They can all go out and stream it right now.
Yeah, go stream it. It'll be better.
And tomorrow night you're playing?
Saturday night at the Highland Arts Theater.
Arts Theater. And that's where the Artist Lounge is as well, I believe.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
You're going to have a lot of musicians that are already right there. So
it's good. That venue's awesome. Like, that was kind of Port City's home venue. We play there every year. So I'm excited to get back there if you haven't been there yet. It's a beautiful old theater that they just kind of repurposed in the last few years. So
it's my first visit all the way up to Sydney. I've been to Cape Breton passively, but not all the way up here. So
you got to get some Cape Breton pizza, bro.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So pizza. Fiddle.
Okay, so I'll tell you this right now. This is some insider shit. So everyone from Sydney, especially, well, people in Cape Breton love Cape Breton pizza, but people from Sydney are either Napoli, which is one place right up the street, and Kenny's. Those are the kind of like you either like one or the other.
Okay.
I'm a big Napoli guy. Some people would want to fight me over that, but I would suggest, are you staying here?
Yeah.
They deliver. They're like right over there. Call Napoli Pizza, get a pie. You won't be disappointed.
There's not a difference between the two, like there is like with Pictou County Pizza and Halifax Pizza.
They're similar, like in style. Like they have Kenny's Pizza in Halifax now, so if I'm in Halifax, I'll get Kenny's Pizza,
sure,
because that's like the closest I can get. But when I'm in Sydney, I'll always go to Napoli. So
awesome.
little local tip there for y'all.
Yeah, I think. My little weekend roommate that just walked out of the room, I think he's going to be quite excited to hear that. He was looking for something to eat there earlier, so I think there's pizza in my future.
Okay, awesome.